Are you looking to elevate your career, grow your business, or enhance your personal development? You're not sure where to start? Do you want to discover the key strategies that individuals use to achieve growth and success in their careers, businesses, and personal lives? Embrace these proven strategies and unlock your full potential as you navigate the path to victory, empowering yourself in both professional and personal realms.
Welcome to Biz Help for You with host Candy Messer. Entrepreneurs like to focus on the big picture, like profitability, success, and a smooth running organization. But there always seems to be those little things like taxes, employee compensation, laws, regulations, and more. Now you can get the answers you need in one place. Join us today as we break it all down for you. Now, here's your host, Candy Messer.
Hello and welcome to Biz Help for You with Candy Messer. Thank you for joining me today. If you missed my last episode and would like to listen to the show, links can be found on my social media pages as well as multiple favorite podcast platforms. And if you'd like to receive notifications on when my podcasts have been uploaded, please like and subscribe. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my guest today. Yasser Hashmi is a highly accomplished entrepreneur and business leader, currently serving as the founder and CEO of the Hashmi Group, and also serves as an advisor to several boards globally. Mr. Hashmi founded the Hashmi Group at the young age of 15 while still in school and officially launched the business in late 2019. Despite having no prior business experience or external investments, he has grown the company into an 8-figure business with an extensive global reach in just 3 years. The Hashmi Group is recognized as one of the fastest growing investor marketing organizations in North America. Mr. Hashmi is a strong believer in the power of entrepreneurs to solve problems and improve the world. His life's purpose is to assist entrepreneurs in achieving their goals and reaching their full potential. He believes that everyone has a unique purpose in life that gives them true meaning and fulfillment, and that by being clear on this purpose and setting goals that align with it, individuals can achieve true fulfillment. So, Yasser, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Candy. Highly appreciate it.
Well, I am looking forward to our conversation. But before I get into any questions that I have for you, I would love for you just to share your story and why you became involved in helping entrepreneurs with their personal and business growth.
Yep. So it's like in terms of my entrepreneurship journey, I would say so it's like every entrepreneur, and I was a salesperson when I was in school. So in the beginning of my life, I loved sales. I loved to sell stuff. And that again, over the period of time, modified itself and converted into entrepreneurship, where I started a proper business. And entrepreneurship is not just about sales, like there's a lot of other aspects as well, rather than just selling stuff to customers. There's 3 main aspects in entrepreneurship. First, you need to sell stuff, then it's about operations, and then it's about leading people. So if someone knows how to lead people, and if someone knows how to operate a business, and if someone knows how to sell it, then you can have a great business. And I started my business in my school days. I used to sell different kinds of stuff there. And then later, there was a Forbes article which mentioned because of the fourth industrial revolution over the period, over this decade, around 2 billion people will lose their jobs because of machines. So at the time, I realized that there will be more entrepreneurs than there are employees. So that might be a situation, in the future, not in near future, but over the next 2 decades. See, I thought that, one interesting thing about the entrepreneurship, which I realized is, I think entrepreneurs can solve every problem of the world because necessity rules the world. And it's like, people don't act unless there's a need for that thing. Now, the thing about entrepreneurship is you can grow a business bootstrap, but you can't build an Apple bootstrap. You really need money to make a big company. And when you have a bigger company, then you have less worry and you have less dependence on a single employee. If few employees leave, you don't need to worry. But if you have a small business, you need to worry if some people are leaving, because that's the majority of your company. Same goes for investors. If some investors are going, you have so many investors. So you also reduce the dependence and you became a big business. You have more leverage working for you. So I realized that it's a very valuable thing to provide help to these entrepreneurs in fundraising. So I focused on starting a business that's focused on helping these entrepreneurs to raise money. So that's why I focused on starting this business. which is kind of an investment bank, but as a whole, it's more of like a investor marketing firm, which is a bit different than an investment bank. So I focused on this business. One of the hardest thing for an entrepreneur is to grow something from scratch because you don't have any leverage. That's why it's important to never lose money, because when you lose money, you lose leverage. And that's why there's a saying that return of capital is more important than return on capital, because even if you lose profits, that's okay, but when you lose your principal, then you lose the leverage as well. So that's how it started.
Okay, perfect. Well, I know you have the background in the finance, like you were talking about, but we're going to be talking today too about growth and personal development and all of that too. So it's kind of interesting how we are kind of making a little dovetail into these two things together. But I would
Yeah.
love for you just to explain any specific strategies or habits that you
Yeah.
have seen that contribute to a person's career advancement, their business growth, and personal development.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the most valuable thing to start anything in life is purpose, I think. When you have a greater purpose in life to do things. Because the thing about purpose is when you have a strong purpose in life, you don't get lost in life. You know what you're doing, and it's hard to distract you. Most of the people, when they complete their high school, they don't know what they want to do. They just do what their friends are asking them to do, or it's like what their friends are doing. They're just focused on that. I mean, the thing about that is that happens when you're not clear. And the reason you're not clear is because you don't know what you're doing. And the reason you don't know what you're doing is because you don't know what you have to do, right? So it's like when you don't know what you have to do, this means you don't know your purpose, right? So I think it's very important to have power of purpose, and purpose is something which gives you meaning and fulfillment in life. Okay, it could be anything. It's important to understand that first your focus is survival, then you have to focus on purpose. You can't be like focused on purpose of helping the world and you are bankrupt, you don't have any money and you want to help the world, focus that purpose. First you have to be in a situation where you have enough financial threshold, you are able to support yourself, then you focus on your purpose. And a purpose could be anything, and you don't need to be a billionaire to be a person that's very successful. And the other thing is this: I was watching some of the photos in my phone and I realized that I was collecting some interesting memories in my life. And I found that the most valuable and priceless memories of my life were with my family. So then I realized how meaningful is it that my best memories in my life are with my family. And I mean, the thing about that is that shifted my perspective. And also over the years, I realized this thing that my time spent has nothing to do with the outcome. Like, even if I work for 20 hours a week or 10 hours a week or 5 hours a week, it has nothing to do with the outcome which I produce at my stage. Like, when you grow something, you don't have leverage, right? You don't have money, you don't know people, you don't have experience, you don't have expertise, you have nothing, right? So when you grow, it's hard. But when you're at my stage in life, then your focus has to be from the beginning on building machines that build machines that build machines. Okay, your focus is on having more and more leverage as much as possible. So in that situation, you reduce the proportion of your success to the proportion of the time which you invest, your personal time. Like, you can delegate, you can have other people do the work for you. So I focus all my efforts on delegation and getting myself in a situation where I'm free, where I can spend time with my partner and for a day. And for a day I can spend time with God. For a day I can spend time with my other family. For a day I can spend time on creating content. For 2 days I can focus on spending time on work. So I really like to work a lot. I mean, it depends how to define it, but it's like I like to stay productive always. But my work hours are reduced a lot over the years. So like in the beginning, I was working like 60 to 80 hours a week. Now I'll just for my businesses, I just work for 20 hours. And then most other time I'm just focused on personal development and other things. And then the other thing is this, like, Candy, I don't think there's only one thing which can make a big difference in a person's life. There's a combination of things. There's a lot of things. That's why every week I reflect my life, how my life is going mentally, socially, spiritually, physically, financially, intellectually. And then I reflect my life, how I am doing on a 1 to 10 scale in my life in these areas. Okay. And the other thing is just like, one very valuable thing a person can do is to have a to-do list and be addicted to that list in just checking out different tasks which you have in a to-do list. So that's how I do things in terms of getting things done and aligning everything with my intermediate and long term goals. So I think focusing on self-reflection is also very important, and having a high self-awareness. And I think most people don't have, high self-awareness. So I think it's very
Mhm.
important to have a high self-awareness. You can have closest people around you and make them very comfortable, and then ask them that what are your thoughts about me. You really need to have a very high willpower in order to get the people who are closest to your family members to tell you what they really think about you, because most people love you who are your closest friends, your family. They would tell the reality, and that's also reducing your self-awareness. So I think that's also a very important thing in personal development. One thing is this, like, there's so many things in personal development. That's why I've written so many insights over my career in my book, Lessons from a Millionaire. It's the best business and personal life insights book. It's the best book. It just have all the insights of my life. It doesn't have any kind of story or paragraphs, basically useless paragraphs or stories. It's just very valuable crux information. I'm really sure everyone will find value from that book.
Right. So obviously we're talking about, entrepreneurs that are smaller businesses right now. I mean, you've had a lot of success in your business so far already too, but a lot of our businesses are still like starting out. Maybe they've, begun because, they lost their jobs because of COVID or things like that too. And so, they want to understand like some specific steps maybe that they need to do to grow their business or have personal development too. And I know that you've talked a few things already, that they could be doing, being able to
Yeah.
delegate so they can continue to grow, and expand their businesses.
So
Obviously learning from, books or webinars or other things like that too. So how would you encourage these small businesses who feel like they have 24 roles that they, have to do in their business to keep them running effectively, yet they still want to learn and grow and
sure.
expand? What would you say to them?
Yeah, let me explain in a more organized manner in terms of business growth. So it's like there are only two ways how you grow a business. Either you have more customers, or either you have limited number of customers, but to make them worth more. By making them worth more means increasing the lifetime value of a customer. And you can increase the lifetime value of a customer in few of the ways. One is cross-selling, another one is upselling, then it's downselling, and then it's about cost reduction and price ticket. So high price ticket item. So one of the most basic ways to just increase your price. Okay, increase in price is only in the mind of the seller, not in the mind of the buyer. Second thing is reduce your cost, which you can do by outsourcing each and everything, where you don't need a person in the US to do the work. You can just get a person in India or Africa to do that job for 20 times cheaper rate than the person would be doing in US. Where if you don't need that person to be in person in the office in the US, then you should definitely get that person outsourced from other part of the world, where you can hire that same person for 20 times cheaper rate. Like people in India or Africa are willing to work for $100 per month. They are medium skilled people. The same people, if you are going to hire in US, they'll charge you $5,000 per month minimum. So if you compare that, you can reduce a lot more cost by doing this, by taking the advantage of purchasing power parity of dollar and other currencies. Second thing is cross-selling and upselling. So let's say basically when you go to McDonald's, you buy a burger, you are upsold with Pepsi, then you are sold with, French fries, then you are sold with different things which are complementary to what you are eating. It's not like they're selling you pumpkin or something else. So everything is relevant, everything is, in correlation. So it's like everything is complementary, it's not odd, everything is relevant. So that's called cross-selling. But upselling is more of like, you can have different versions of your product. You can have basic version, medium version, most expensive version. That's one thing. That's cross-selling. Upselling could be like, let's say you have a customer who buys fundraising services from you. You can say upsell that person websites, web development service or digital marketing services or different other kinds of services. That's another thing which you can do. You can keep on upselling that person, because it's a lot more easier to resell the person again who already bought from you than to have a person from scratch to sell something from to that person. And the other thing is downselling. Let's say if you are a IT company, or let's say web development company who makes websites. So now your ideal customer is up. Let's say if it's a startup, that company needs a lot more other services which your client needs. Let's say you are working with startups, all your clients are startups, and startups need more services than just web development service. They also need fractional CFO services, they also need digital marketing services, they also need workspace services, they need different other kinds of software services as well. which you can't provide, but you can do partnership with other companies that can provide those services, and you can get commission by selling those stuff, just introducing these people and then getting a commission between it. So
Mhm.
that's another thing which you can do in order to increase profit. That's called downselling. So you have downselling, you have upselling, you have cross selling. You can increase the price, you can reduce the cost. These five are most important ways how a business can increase profits. And in terms of a business that's doing, the way the founder is doing all the things on their own for a lot of years, the thing is you can just delegate that work to someone who's living in another country. If you don't know people in another country, then you need to learn how you build trust and how to find credible people on LinkedIn or any other platform, and do proper due diligence. Be more intelligent in doing due diligence so that you don't get scammed, and be more careful in the things that you do. Be more skeptical in hiring, all those kinds of stuff. One very important thing is this: like, people say that business is very hard for decades. Business is not meant to be hard for decades. Business is only meant to be hard for the first to second years, 1, 2, 3,
Mhm.
4, 5 years. Okay, business is not meant to be hard for decades. If business is hard for decades, this means they don't know the power of delegation. They don't know how to delegate well, and person's ability to delegate. So training is a very important part of it when it comes to delegation. So I think by doing these things, a business can increase their revenue, also reduce their cost, and have a business where you can have more intelligent people than you come give their ideas and grow their business, because you grow a business to a certain point from your own ideas, then you bring more people, and those people use their brain to grow their business, because
Mhm.
you reach a break-even point of ideas. You can only have so much ideas, right, to grow a business. Then you need more people to help you. And the other thing is this: it's very important to realize that people are more valuable than anything in this world. People are more valuable than money. People are more valuable than any materialistic thing. People are more valuable than a car or whatever,
Mhm.
because what you need is what other people have, and people
Mhm.
are controlled by their unconscious mind. So if you can master psychology and unconscious mind, you can get anything you want in life, because 90% of human decision making is based on the unconscious mind. So if you master the power of unconscious mind or subconscious mind, you can get anything you want in life. Of course, it will take time basically to execute, but it's like you will be clear on what you want to do, and you will be more confident in what you're doing, and you will be like not so hesitant in doing things. You will be clear in doing things.
Mhm. Well, I know you were saying, to be able to have a better work life balance, finding those people, delegating, and things like that. But sometimes it's hard when you're in the midst of just growing that business and you feel like you have to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week just to keep it running, especially when someone is just starting out. And then they could feel overwhelmed. Just sometimes feel like I'm burned out. I don't want to do this any longer, but yet it's now providing the income for the family. So, what would you say to someone who says, well, I understand what you're saying. I do know I need to delegate at some point, but right now it's still hard to just get everything off my plate. I feel overwhelmed. I want to continue learning things. I want to continue developing, but I'm just in the day to day operating my company. Like, what would you say to encourage them?
So, like, one very important thing to realize is that you need a team. That
Mhm.
you really need a team to grow, and you can do a partnership with another person, have a co-founder who's your opposing strength. That's one of the things you can do. Or another thing which you can do is, like, you can have your business and create it in the form of a franchise from the beginning. Like, you can have a one person business, be a solopreneur, create manuals, do everything, create it in the form of franchise, have all the systems, your brand name, your contact list, everything. Get another person who can also use your same business model, work for 4 hours, and then generate almost similar level of income. And that person can also work for you. You can get a royalty fee, and you can also get thousands of dollars of upfront fee, basically, whether 10 grand, 20 grand, depends on the business revenue which you have. If we have a small business that's generating 100 grand, then you can charge maybe 10, 20 grand in upfront franchisee fee, and then you can have 10%, 20% profits. Or let's say if you have a franchise where you have $2, $3 million in revenue, then you can have a higher fee. So that's one of the other things which you can do in order to delegate. But one thing you have to realize is One very important thing about being a big thinker is this: when you think big, your fear levels are reduced, and you think and you realize and admit and acknowledge that you can't do it on your own. Then you think in a different way. Then you think about leverage, because what I need is what other people have. Okay, I realize I have $1 billion goal. I need more people, I need more expertise, I need more connection, I need more funds. Who has what I need? Now you will think in a different way, okay? Rather than being a small thinker. Now, the reason we think small is because we think we can do it. The reason we can do it is because we know that we have this much knowledge, this much expertise, this much experience, this much money to be able to do or execute this thing. That's why we think small. But when we think big, we realize these are the things which we don't have to that extent. And then we realize we need help. And the sooner you realize you need help, the more valuable it is and the more helpful it will be for you to understand it. So one interesting thing is just to basically do a partnership with a person who's based in another country like India or any other country, where you can get a co-founder and that person can work for you, or you can hire interns in India or in Africa. However, in Middle East, they're unpaid interns who do all the basic stuff for you for free. They just need a certificate because they just want to show their certificate in the university or college. Like in the beginning of my business, when I needed more employees, I was focused on reinvesting in my business. I was using a lot of unpaid interns, and they were like hundreds of interns which I was using at the same time to grow the business. And all of them were unpaid, and I was able to take their help a lot in my sales. And it's like they didn't needed anything, they just needed experience of the work, and they just need the certificate, nothing else. You can use them basically as well in growing your business for doing other kinds of work. And one very important thing is to realize that you take your gross annual income divided by the number of hours you do work. Let's say you work 40 hours a week, and let's say there are 52 weeks in a year. So you divide that and get to know what's the value of your time per hour. Okay, let's say if the value of your time per hour is $200 or $300, then don't do a $10 hour job. Why will you do a $10 hour job?
Right.
Why will you send an email to a person asking to confirm your meeting or do things which are not worth your time? Like, don't why you are doing data entry, being a CEO? Why are you doing basic stuff which are not worth your time, right? So it's like you don't want to be that. You want to be in a situation where you are using other people's time to get things done for you. So in that situation, you can use these interns for the task, which can save your time.
hmm Well, and I know today we're talking about growing our success, right, through personal development or other things too, but we all have things that happen that are setbacks or failures while we're moving into success, whether it's personally through our companies, so what strategies would you recommend to kind of deal with those situations so that we can bounce back?
In terms of growing sales, you mean?
In terms of whether it's personally, we're going to have things that happen to us, right, that can be seen as setting us back along the goals that we had for our success. Same thing in business. We might make a business decision that we think is going to go one way, but maybe things don't go the way we planned. And so it can become really frustrating while we're trying to move towards, the goals that we have for ourselves, to have these setbacks. So again, what would you say to encourage someone who is facing some of these challenges and they still want to continue along that path to success?
One thing about that person is to first acknowledge that it's normal to have setbacks, whether it could be a divorce or a breakup, or it could be something else. It could be a health issue. It could be anything in life, any kind of setback which you can have, and that's normal. That's not like something which is something you should be embarrassed about. But it's really hard to, come from a setback which you have in life. But at the same time, you should expect setbacks, and you should prepare for adversity in your prosperity days. That's very important thing, and that's very wise to prepare for adversity when you're in prosperity, and focus on delegating and creating systems which work for you, even if you're not during the business. Because even if it's like you mentioned, when you're in a business, you're doing all this stuff. So the thing about that is that's not a business, that's a job. So it's like if you are doing all the things on your own, then you're in a job, or let's say that's more like self-employed, right? And your focus is to go from self-employed to growing a business. And that's okay if you're self-employed, that's okay if you run a business, that's okay if you run a multinational company, that's all right. Okay, it depends on your purpose, what you're trying to accomplish in your life. But at the same time, it's very important to understand that these things are part of our life. And another important thing which you can do is to see your past. Okay, the past also gives you a lot of confidence. Okay, I am someone who grew this business from scratch to this level, and I did it in the past, and I can do it again now, over and over again. And I have grown a business for several years in the past. This means I am skilled. That was not just random luck. Luck is, you can be lucky once, you can be lucky once in different areas, but it's like when you have done things in the past over and over, if you are successful in the past for many times, you have to realize it. That's very valuable. This means you're really skilled and you can duplicate that last success again and again in the future. It's not so hard. But at the same time, I think, just like I have never been through a divorce or anything like that. But I would say that, it's very important to see your past. And then another thing is to focus on your purpose. Purpose is like a force that, basically pulls you towards its direction. So it's like, think about a purpose that, that's my purpose. It's like, okay, I got a divorce, I got this, I got that, I got this health issue. I should never forget that my purpose in life is to do this thing. That's the purpose of life. That's not just like, that's just something which you have spoken, a word came out of your mouth. That's something which is really a purpose. That's another way how things can be done when someone is in a setback. I think purpose is really a very powerful thing. If you think about that purpose, or enough times you see that purpose again and again, like we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. So we need to be keep on reminding ourselves what's our purpose in life. So I think that's another valuable thing to be done.
Right. So obviously, purpose personally, right? What do we have personally that's going to guide us? Purpose for our own business. Like, why are we even in business, right? What is the goal that we set? And it's not just to earn revenue, which of course that's important, but what is the real meaning behind the business that you have? So all of those things can, even in the midst of challenges, if you do have that purpose that you're striving for, then it helps you to keep going in those tough times. Mm-hmm. Okay, so final question then, because we are talking about, success personally and in business as well too. But obviously there is a role of building relationships with others that also helps. So we're not always successful just because of what we're doing, but because of others that we have in our lives personally or in business too. So can you just touch on that as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think, you are always one person away from changing your life, one right person away. And it's like, it's very important. Like in my life, and even in my book, I mentioned one thing that, people are more valuable than anything. Because really, that I mean that people can give you anything you want in life. If you need money, other people have it. If you need experience, other people have it. If you need expertise, other people have it. So you just need to find the right person. And it's important to, treat people in a good manner. Like, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice with people, right? And it's like, being kind is the highest form of intelligence. Like when you're kind to people, that's a very wise thing as well in the long run. And the thing about relationships is, I think it's very valuable to have support in life, especially in an entrepreneurship journey where you have to do things on your own. It's hard. It's really hard to do things on your own. And a lot of times, even if you're not single, still you feel alone a lot of times when you're running business. Your spouse is not always there for you. Your family is not there always for you. And it's good to have support, even if you don't need it, but still you feel good when someone supports you. I think that's very valuable. And I think every person should do everything in their life through a relationship based approach rather than a transactional approach, because I think it's a lot more easier to sell a $10,000 stuff than to sell a $10 stuff. And you sell a $10 stuff when there's a transactional approach, but you sell a $10,000 stuff when there's a relationship based approach. There's a trust, there's a extra free value which you're giving to the other person, right, which is coming from basically the power of the relationship. So I think you can make 100 times more money through a relationship based approach than through a transactional approach. And it's always important to appreciate and thank people who helped you. Like whenever I feel low, I message 10 people who helped me in my life in different stages, and I thank them for any kind of help which they did. And by giving positive energy out, it also increased my positive energy, because what you give out, you get back. So I get more positive energy when I give more positive energy. So that's another thing basically, which can be done in life in order to live a more meaningful and happy life. And one of the most important thing about relationships and people is 80% of happiness comes from relationships. That's one of the most important reason why we should have more and more relationships in life, but I mean with good high quality people. Otherwise it will do the negative if you do create relationship with the wrong people.
hmm Well, and I think while you're talking, the word that I was just thinking of was gratitude, right? Just being
For sure.
thankful and sharing
Right.
that back with the other people who have made an impact on our lives too, which will then make them feel great as well too. So I think that was a
For
great
sure.
piece of advice too. So
Perfect.
I would love for you to share what offer that you may have with our listeners, and if anyone
Sure.
wants to connect with you, how can they find you?
Sure, perfect. So basically, I recently launched my book, Lessons from a Millionaire. This book contains all the personal and business insights which I have gotten in my life, and all of them as insights. There are more than 400 insights in the book. There's no story or anything like that. It's just Croc's insight because I really don't like to read books which has 200 pages, and when I complete the book, I feel like I could have learned the same thing in one page. The
Sure.
author just wrote it in one page because he wouldn't be able to sell the book. So it's like, I really don't like that. That's why my book has all the crux information. You can also go on my website, yasserhashmi.com, and there's a book section. You can go there, or from the store section, you can just buy the book. And if you don't get enough value, if you think, just text our team. We'll be happy to refund you. And for any other kind of entrepreneurship and personal development related content, you can go on YouTube on my channel, Yasser Hashmi, or you can just search my name, Yasser Hashmi, on Google and get to all my social media, or search yasserhashmi.com. That has all linked to my social media platforms. If you want to connect, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, follow me on Instagram or different. I'm on 30 different platforms. Every major, basically mainstream platform, I'm there. So you can go there, you follow us, you can comment on any of my posts. Happy to help in any way I can. You can give us feedback on any kind of video which you are looking for us to create. That's basically what I would like to say to you all.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Yasser, for being a guest on my show and sharing your experiences with my audience. I really appreciate it.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, Candy, and have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in today. I hope you found this topic interesting and enjoyed the informative discussion. Would you please share my show with those you know and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform? I'd really appreciate your support. If you have any additional questions or comments, be sure to reach out to my guest at any of the links that they shared, or you could send me a message at media@abandp.com. I hope you can join me for my next interview, and remember, you can connect with me on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and my website is abandp.com. This episode is sponsored by Affordable Bookkeeping and Payroll Services. If you are overwhelmed trying to handle the financial aspects of your business, AB&P is here to help. Contact us today to discuss your needs at 310-534-5577 or contact@abandp.com. My team and I are eager to assist you. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Biz Help for You. Please join your host, Candy Messer, again next time. Have a terrific day.